Guys, welcome back to the 1885 show. This is your Birmingham post-match call-down. Harry, 4 days is an incredibly long time in football, isn't it, mate? The lows of Portsmouth feel a distant memory now after that outstanding home performance against an informed Birmingham. Third in the table, 4 points off second, and perhaps more importantly, 9 points off seventh. So, before we get into the show, as always, a massive thank you to everyone that's liked, commented, or subscribed already. If you enjoy the content, you want to show us your support, it would mean the world to us. Only 30% of our viewers are subscribed. So, guys, what are you waiting for? Hit the big subscribe button and let's get into the show. Joining me today, we've got Harry. Welcome back, mate. Bit better than the weekend, wasn't it? You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, it was much better yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, to be honest, I wasn't too down after Saturday. I know a lot of people were, but it was one game. Yeah, it was one game. I was like, we're going to bounce back. It's a new animal under Alex Neil, so I knew we'd get a response last night. Didn't think it'd be that good, but yeah, what a result, what a performance as well.
No, absolutely, mate. I mean, and you know what? Let's go straight into our analysis in the first segment of the show. We said it at the top of the show, Birmingham are in incredible form, unbeaten in the last 9. Looking through the comments of our last show, Birmingham fans were incredibly confident going into it and coming away with the 3 points, which you can kind of understand with the form they were in. But we absolutely dismantled them, didn't we, mate? I mean, what was your first impression having left the ground yesterday?
Well, the first thing I said in the pre-match was if Aziz gets the better of Wagner early doors, it'll be curtains for him. And what happened? Aziz killed him for the first 20, 30 minutes. We were all over him. They had that one chance, didn't they, where Kramer decided to pass it to Stansfield. But we were all over him. We were the better team. I think we only had 3 shots on target or something ridiculous like that. I think we scored with every shot on target or something stupid. But I thought we were brilliant last night. It was a brilliant team performance and a good bounce back. I think under Alex Neil, it's one of them ones where we needed a reaction last night. And under previous managers, we'd have drawn that last night. We'd have had a good performance, but drawn it. Last night, we were just clinical. We were just up for it. The only thing I was scared about the whole time was Kramer, please don't get a yellow card. I was hoping he's going to get taken off at some point and put Leonard centre back, but he took Lenny off, and I was like, oh, brilliant. So he's playing the whole game now. Last night was just a brilliant bounce back. And I called it. I said we'd win yesterday. Didn't think it'd be 3-0, but I said we'd win.
No, I've got to say, mate, you're probably the most confident person in that group chat. I think for me, the attitude and the application of the players was just so much better. And obviously, Denor said his piece after the Pompey game about we weren't really up for it. They wanted it more. That can't be levelled at them last night. The boys were so hungry from the first minute, weren't they?
Yeah, to be honest, you know what? I think with someone like Denor, right? Obviously and he can speak English. I'm not saying he can't, but obviously there is that sort of language barrier in the sense that he probably hasn't actually meant it as in the fact that, we turned up, we didn't try. I think it's just the way he's worded it. It's probably sounded a bit bad, but I was thinking about it and I was going, if 1 in every 10 games we don't turn up, we'll be fine by the end of the season. We'll be fine in a long run of the season. Do you know what I mean? Before that, okay, we weren't great against Wednesday, but we beat them. Wrexham was 2 evenly matched teams. And it took a bit of going. We've been fine, even when we lost to Coventry. We've lost 2 league games in 2026. One was on Saturday and one was to the league leaders in Coventry. So, I think there was an overreaction on Saturday. Maybe Casper's comments didn't help, but I do think he didn't mean it in the sense of, we didn't bother and Pompey just sort of turned up kind of thing. Yeah, it was a reaction we needed, and a reaction that, I knew we were going to get out. It was Millwall, and it was under the lights at the Den, and it was a really good crowd last night, I thought. For a Wednesday night game on TV, on the back of a big defeat on Saturday, it was actually a very good crowd, especially where I was. It was mental.
Yeah, I was surprised how many people were there, to be honest with you. So fair play to Millwall fans for showing up. I think something you touched on as well in that is around the games we show up for and don't. And let's be honest, not every game, not every 3 points is the same, right? I know that sounds weird to say, but if you look at our last 4 games, we played 2 sides that are hunting the playoffs or in the playoffs. We've beat them both. And we've played 2 sides that were down there. And actually, we probably didn't show up for either of them games. Obviously, we beat Sheffield Wednesday, but we tend to show up we're showing up in the games that matter. And that has to be worth something, right? And there has to be some degree of credit for Alex Neil and the boys to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's anything like complacency or anything like that. I just think we've sort of got this expectation right now. And I've always said when teams come at us and try and play, we will beat teams because we will get in behind and we've got the players to do that. When teams sit in that low block and don't allow you to play, like the Wednesday game, it makes it very hard for us. yeah, we've had some bad, not bad performances, but not like they've not been great. Like I said, with Wednesday game and stuff like that. But we're picking up points when we're not playing well, and then when we are playing well, we're beating teams 3-0 at home on a Wednesday night.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think, yeah, like I said, there was a massive overreaction after Saturday, and I completely understand that people don't want to be watching games at home losing 3-1, but like I said, I know the response was going to come, and I expect us to now kick on a bit. I think that result probably lifted the camp a bit. I think when the team came out, everyone was moaning because they saw
hmm
players like, obviously Taylor wasn't featured, Doherty was out. Obviously Coburn was back in, but he's hit and miss just like the Serbs. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm hoping last night was a bit of like a Saturday was a one-off. We're back now. We've got some big games coming up. We've got Preston, Hull, and Derby, who are all three of them have got a chance of making the playoffs this year.
yeah.
So, I think we'll get the best out of our team in them 3 games. I think that these next 3 games are massive for our season. If we can get, I said 7 points. I think 7 points is a possibility out of them. As long as we win the whole game, if I'm going up there, I don't mind. I'll take a draw against Preston, then 6 points after that. But yeah, we're just a different animal under Alex Neil. I keep saying it. We're a different animal under Rowett or under Harris. We wouldn't have bounced back in the style that we did
Don't
last
think
night.
so. No, no, I
We
completely
might
agree.
have won the game 1-0 or something like that, but last night was like, we need to prove everyone right, and yeah, we
It
smashed
weren't
them.
just yeah. It's touch on what you're saying. It weren't just the result. It weren't just the 3-0. It was because we've beat big sides, we beat good sides before under previous managers. It was the manner of the result. It was the manner of the performance. We were completely dominant in every element of the game, and that has to be credit to the manager, right, and the players.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've given some teams a spanking this year in West Brom and Charlton, but if you look at their league
hmm
position, you could argue, well, you should be beating them teams sort of at that level. But to beat Birmingham 3-0 away from home, a team that hadn't lost since 2025, you know, they like I said, with comments in the YouTube pre-match was that they were fairly confident they were going to beat us last night. And to be honest, I think if Jay Stansfield does score, it could be a different game potentially, but that's ifs
Essentially,
and buts. We could say that about a load of Millwall games where we've gone, oh, if we scored that early chance. I think back to when we lost 3-0 at home to Fulham in the playoff season run, like when
yep.
I think Cooper had a goal
Goal
disallowed.
disallowed.
But it's ifs and buts. But yeah, Birmingham, I don't know if they were poor last night or if we were just in the face from minute one. I think it was that. I don't think Birmingham are a bad side. I just think we got straight into them from minute one yesterday. Like I said, Aziz burnt their left back a few times. One thing Birmingham did do well was play out the back. You know, they
hmm
got into we
hmm
stood with the press, and you heard like the moo, thinking we're going to hit them, and then they just knock it around you, and then be out in midfield, and
They're
then
out. Yeah, yeah.
that is one
Particularly the
thing they
first
did
half did
really
it a few
well.
times.
Yeah, they did that in the first half. I think it was still 0-0, and they did it sort of near the end when obviously no one really cared. But yeah, I'm very happy today. I'm very happy that I was proved right last night. Everyone was giving me chip in the chat because I thought we were going to win. So
No, mate, you were proved right. Yeah, unequivocally. So, right, let's move into our next segment, mate. We're going to go through the starting 11. 4 changes from the weekend, 3 tactical, 1 forced. Patterson kept his place in goal. I think many expected he would.
yeah,
Harry, but right decision for you, mate. He made a big save early on, didn't he?
yeah. Goalkeeper's one of them positions. I think was it harsh from Crocombe to drop him potentially, but if we are serious about the next level, then Patterson. Well, Sunderland fans will tell you he is a very good goalkeeper. So if you're going to make that change, in my opinion, Alex Neil has now got to stick that one out to the end of the season. And I thought last night, yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't have much to do, but the save he makes from Jay Stansfield is a big one because it goes 1-0 Birmingham. And I think the mood drops in the den. So, yeah, I expected Patterson to start, to be honest. I don't think anyone would have. I think a lot of people would have moaned more if Crocombe had started.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't change every week, can you? So, no, I completely agree, mate. Right back, Ryan Leonard, the one false change due to a Caleb Taylor injury. I'm not going to lie, mate. When I saw him in the starting 11, I was a little bit concerned. We know that we spoke about the Birmingham game. We did it in the warm up. We know that they've got some quick, tricky wingers. He was exceptional, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
Ryan
was
Leonard was
honestly.
absolutely exceptional.
If Kramer didn't get 2 assists and a goal, he was my man of match. He was amazing last night.
Yeah,
Wound up. I don't even know who their left winger was, to be honest. Um,
Ibrahim Osborne, something like that.
that's
Bosman.
one. Yeah, yeah. Because I thought it was going to be Damari Gray before the team came out.
Yeah,
But
same.
he literally had him in his pocket. I don't remember him ever getting past Leonard once last night. Leonard's one of them players, right? For 46 games, you probably don't want him in the team too often because he does burn out. But when he comes in, he just makes an instant impact. And last night he was amazing. He bullied him for 90 minutes last night. He didn't get how 60 minutes whenever Leonard played. We didn't get a sniff of that down that side. we destroyed them. And yeah, I would be tempted to start Leonard again Saturday, because I think you have to reward a performance like that, and we don't need to rush Taylor back if we kept a clean sheet.
No, mate, it's a it's a really good point actually. Does he now deserve to keep his starting and place in the 11? I think you can argue he does. And even if he doesn't keep his place in 11, I think having someone like Ryan Leonard fit and in rotation, ready to come on and make an impact, as we've just seen, I've said for a while he's probably the best one-on-one defender in the Championship because of his pace, physicality, and aggression. He's maybe lost that little bit of pace. We've not seen that from him this year, but he's still got it in the locker, mate. He can still do a job on a player, can't he?
He's still a solid. He's a solid backup Championship player for us. Do you know what I mean? If we're trying
Yeah.
to get that level, I think he hasn't got that going forwards ability as much as maybe Kramer has. He's sort of able to Kramer's able to break about 3 tackles and still have the ball and then lay off Aziz. But there's a gap between them two. But in terms of like as a good backup player that needs to come in, backs against the wall sometimes, and we just need someone to stand strong, hit someone early, put them off their game. Ryan Leonard's perfect for that. And I thought, him and Nedgley were like top 2, and then obviously Kramer was. Yeah, he was just exceptional, weren't he, last night?
Yeah, mate. And you know what? Let's talk about Kramer then. So, because of the injury, he had to move into the centre back position, which I got to say, I actually think did him a lot of favours. We spoke before about his yellow card, and he's 1 yellow card away from a suspension. I think playing in the centre actually protected him a little bit from that winger, and was maybe the reason he escaped without a yellow card yesterday. So maybe a bit of a happy accident there. But more importantly, 2 assists and a goal from centre back. That's not bad at all, is it, mate?
Well, 2 assists and a goal. His other partner gets a goal in
Yeah.
Coops. It was just, literally. I mean, people will say, "Oh, haven't our strikers scored again?" But if we're scoring all around the pitch, I don't care.
Who cares? Yeah,
And
who cares?
I mean, his first he sets up obviously Aziz, who scores an absolute worldie. Then he scores, that reaction, that is a striker's reaction on that second goal. To
Mhm.
follow that free kick in, because most people will think, oh, he's going to pat it wide. For it to hit the post, and you just, first time, that's not, if everyone thinks that's an easy finish, Josh Coburn would have skied that one.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously, the reaction from, I can't remember what, it was a flick on, weren't it? And it looked like it was going out, and he just cuts it back to Coops.
Yeah.
He was, that was one of his best performances as a Mill shirt, and it wasn't even at right back. He's such a good player. He has. Everyone was moaning on Saturday that he sort of got burnt a few times at right back, but he's such a good player. I mean, the only way we're keeping him next season is if we go up. We've lost him. He's that good of a player. And then Coops, obviously the general. I love Coops. Such a good player, and I'm so glad he got a goal.
He deserved it, didn't he? He I can't remember their striker's name. Forgive me, but I could probably find it out. But the young guy they bought in January, tall, physical presence. They tend to go more direct to him. Cooper just absolutely bodied him, gave him a little bit of a lesson of this. Welcome to the Championship, mate. This is what it's all about. Can't fault Cooper, can you?
No, I think he's such. When he first signed, I remember him. He was like this tall, skinny kid that came
Yeah.
in, and it was like, oh, he's gonna be good for a few years, but as he ages, he's gonna like lose his turn of pace, and he just turned into a. And I always find with Cooper, and someone pointed this out a couple of seasons ago. He starts the season very slowly. It's like he needs to get up to it, and then by like October, he just turns into an absolute animal.
Yeah.
And yes, he's not the perfect centre back. He does have his flaws. Every player does in the team. But I think he's just Mr. Consistent. You're going to get a 7 out of 10 from Cooper every week. And he's, I think the captain armband, I was concerned at first because I never saw him as that sort of like leader and someone that was like, get the boys going. But he's just turned into an absolute animal this year. And it proves a point. I think someone put this on Twitter. Like, we've had Tanganga, we've had Cresswell, we've had Ballard, Kramer, Taylor. Who's the mainstay in that team all the time? And it's Cooper. You never see
Always
Cooper. The only time he gets jobs if he picks up an injury or he's on a suspension or something. But
that's rare.
Yeah, and even that, I remember, wasn't it like something silly like 300 games before you got taken out?
Yeah, ridiculous. And then the final member of the back four, a lot of change in that back four, to be fair. It's only when you write it down you realise how much change there actually was. But Zach Sturge coming in for Alfie Doughty, I've got to say, mate, I think it's safe to say this is a absolute masterstroke from Alex Neil. Zach Sturge was exceptional, wasn't he?
Oh, he was brilliant. Yeah, well, at first I wasn't sure it was because he's on the opposite side from the first half, and I wasn't sure who it was because he's cut his hair. He's got just the afro. So I was like, who's he starting left back? And I had to look back at the team. I was like, that's Sturge, Yeah, he was quality. I mean, he's defensively, he probably is better now for Doherty. I think that's I don't think that's an
Hmm?
arguable. He obviously going forward maybe not as good, but I thought last night he got down the left flank a few times, caused a
Yeah.
few problems, won a few corners. Yeah, he was solid last night. He looked like he was fighting for his place in the team. You know, because he knows there's a competition with obviously Alf at left back. You
Yeah.
know, he, Joe Bryan is third choice. I think we all appreciate that. As much as Joe has been like an okay servant for the club, he is third. But yeah, Sturridge came in last night, and it's like he'd had a run of games for, you know, he's been playing the last 5 or 6. He was so solid. And
Mhm.
yeah, similar to Leonard, their wingers just got no joy out of either of them. Both of them, I don't remember either of them getting beat properly. Like, you know, they've sort of tapped it
No.
past them and put a decent ball into the box rather than over here or out of play. I don't remember them to be getting beat at all last night, and they both got forward with intent as well, which was always good to see. So
No,
yeah,
I
back
completely
four,
agree.
can't fault it. I mean, yeah, like I said, made some changes, but I think we needed to freshen it up and go against Saturday,
Yeah.
mate. That team.
No, I completely agree, man. Do you know, we'll touch more on Sturge in particular in a moment when we finish this segment, because I do want to talk about, we obviously in the pre-match show, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, we did mention some key battles. I do want to touch on the ones we flagged as the key battles, because I don't want to give us a bit of a pat, too early of a pat on the back, but I think we got it right, mate. So, but yeah, moving on to the midfield, Billy Mitchell, Casper Denor, unchanged from the tried and tested pairing. A lot of people thought that Alex Neil might be tempted to make a change. I think we both said he might make a change. He didn't. He stuck with the boys. Again, mate, you got it right. They were fantastic in there, weren't they?
Yeah, they're solid, aren't they? Once again, you know what you get out of Bill and Caspar week in, week
Yeah.
out. I think at times, sometimes are they a bit too deep potentially, but they protect the back line so well. I wouldn't have been opposed to starting Bannon yesterday, because I think it's always good to have that mix up, just freshen the legs a bit. Obviously, the centre midfield for us is such a hard job because you're constantly back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just ever reliant, aren't they? And one thing they've both added this year is just that quality in that final third at times, in terms of playing balls through in between the lines that they probably weren't doing before Alex Neil joined, to be honest. So yeah, once again, they were brilliant, and they sort of kept Birmingham. They just stopped a lot of Birmingham runs through the middle,
100%.
cut out a lot of stuff which gets unnoticed a lot of the time. To be fair, they sort of don't get that praise for how much defensive and dogged work they do. And unless they put out a 50-yard ball, no one really notices.
Well, I mean, I'll happily sit here and eat my hat here. I was critical of both of them after the Portsmouth game. I thought Billy was slightly better, but I said that they both lost that midfield battle, which I don't think's an argument. I don't think everyone saw it, but yesterday they unequivocally won that midfield battle, and it was so important. So credit where credit's due there. And then we move on to the right wing, Femi Aziz. I mean, I said it in that chat. He was playing like the January window to open, mate. It was incredible yesterday. Goal and assist, and frequently this season we've needed a moment. We've needed someone to give us a little bit of a spark. He's turned up and he's stood up and he's been counted. When he plays like that, mate, is there a better winger in the Championship? I don't think there is.
First of all, we can't claim that as an assist. It's hit the post. He had a shot. Surely that does not go down as a Femi Aziz assist.
I've given it to him, mate. So there you go.
Oh,
It's too late, mate. I've said it now.
yeah, I mean, I've said this before as well. If he played for a bigger club in the Championship than a Millwall, literally Sky Sports wouldn't shut up about him. You know, like the Jaden Philogines of the world,
Yeah.
when he was doing it
Yeah, I
well,
know what I mean.
and stuff. They had
Jack
like
Clark. Yeah.
spotlights on him, and like no one, and I'm happy with that. And you know, probably Aziz isn't, but you know, I'm happy that he's coming under the radar. Yeah, when Aziz on fire, what a player! And the fact we got him for £1 million makes it even better. I mean, what a signing he's been. And yeah, he has them games where everything he touches turns to gold. Like on Saturday, if he'd have had that free kick, he'd have put that up in the away end. Do you know what I mean? He'd actually got in the away
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he is on it, and he's on it most times, to be fair, and that goal he scored, I mean, that's is actually from where we are, because we're like literally by the TV, the swerve to sort of bend it around the keeper. Because at first I thought, the keeper should save that. That's sort of like, it looked like it was
I
going to be
thought the
straight out.
same.
Then I watched it on TV, and I was like, oh no, that's a cracking goal. That's an absolute finish. But yeah, him and Kramer remind me of Jed and Romeo. Do you remember when they had that little link up in that first season in the Champions?
Yeah.
That's where they're both down the flanks. They're horrible to play against. Jed's got the creativity to sort of, you know, make things happen, and then Romeo or Kramer have got that pace to sort of help basically be a second right winger. Yeah, Aziz is exceptional, and you can quite clearly see why he's our best player and why teams were trying to sign him on deadline day.
Yeah, and thank God
And he
he's still
beat
here,
and
mate.
snapped up Wagner, which was brilliant.
Yeah, again, is another one we'll talk about in a moment once you finish the segment. 'Cause, yeah, I mean, I thought he was exceptional in that battle. Um, Moving into the 10, I think you asked for this. Dan may have as well. Langstaff comes back into the side. I've got to say, credit where credit's due. I think that's probably his best performance in the Mill shirt. He did not stop running. I thought his link play in terms of actually getting on the ball and finding the Mill shirt, again, it was much improved. That's something I often criticise him for. I thought it was really, really good last night. And he missed the chance in the second half and he would have deserved the goal. What did you think about Langstaff yesterday, mate?
Yeah, we said it in the pre-match, didn't we? So he's not number 9. We would never start him up top by himself, but put him in behind, and he'll do all the running about, and he'll chase players down and slide in, and his link-up play is much better than both the two strikers we've got combined, in my opinion. I think when he's on it, he can knock a ball about, just can't finish, and that's why he doesn't start as a number 9. But once again, there was a lot of players last night that looked like they've been given a rocket up their arse, basically, and they needed to perform. And Langstaff isn't like one of them players. He's not going to score loads of goals, but what he will do is he'll do the groundwork to help support basically the strikers in the midfield. And I thought, once again last night, very solid showing from him. I'm part of me wanting to sell him in January if we were going to make some money on him, but looking back, I'm glad we've kept him because I don't think there's many. We haven't got another Langstaff in that role. He is George Honeyman, but with more quality, in a sense that he can actually play balls through. He just can't finish.
Yeah, if he can play like that every week, I don't think anyone would argue about him starting in the side, would they, to be honest with you?
No, exactly.
Moving out onto the left, Camille Negley kept his place in the side. He was absolutely abysmal versus Portsmouth. It was terrible. No, we weren't the only one, but he was terrible. And I think actually you could argue that yesterday was best game for us. 4 days is a long time with football. He was incredible last night. What was your thoughts on Negley, mate?
Yeah, Neshley's one of them players. I call him a flair player. So if it's going well, he'll be one of the best players on the pitch. But when we're losing, it's very hard for a flair player to get into a game if you're not getting a lot of the ball. And I think one of Nesley's criticisms from fans is that he doesn't work hard and stuff like that. And it's like that couldn't be further from the truth. I think Alex Neil covered it once that he runs the most. Nesley's a very good player. Although his finish last night was much to be desired when it went in a cold blow upper. I was about, this is going to be 4 and we're going to score. But I think he's a quality player. I think when he gets the ball, apart from that mistake he made against Preston, I where he sort of played it into him and they scored. Every time I get it, I'm like, something's going to happen here. He's going to try and do something. He had a few little like flicks and back heels last night that sort of opened up space. There was one way he almost played a beautiful ball through, and I think it got intercepted. He's a really good player. He's just one of them players. He's going to be in and out of games. You're going to have come away from a game, you think, why have we signed him? And then another time, you're like, $4.5 million. That's a steal. Yeah, he's just one of them players.
No, exactly that. And then moving on to the final member of the starting 11, the final change. Josh Coburn returns to the side after his illness. Do you know what, mate? I'm gonna say it. I think Josh Coburn, it was the difference between what we saw last night and Portsmouth. He allows us to play so much further up the field. He allows us to go more direct, and he allows people to get in and around him. I'm not slagging off Ivanovic at all. I don't think he's that player. So let's not judge him for what he's not. But for me, I thought Coburn just pulled it all together last night, and he makes us look so much better when he's playing.
Yeah, and I mean, that first half, because where we are, like I said, we're right in line with sort of the 18-yard box, basically, of the opposite Birmingham goal. And every time the ball was going along from like a Cooper or a Crumb or a Leonard Diag, he's literally getting his shirt pulled, but he's holding it off. And all he's doing is just letting it hit him and then bounce onto Denor or Mitchell. So then we can then run and go wide, or we can go more forward. And that's all he was doing last night. But then defenders couldn't get in front of him to stop that. I think, and this is don't want to rip into the Serb, because I do think he's a good striker. The Serb would have allowed the Birmingham defender to come in and mop that up or win a header or something like that. Coburn was literally forcing him back, and we're all shouting that it's a foul because he's literally got half his shirt up his back. But he just does so well to sort of hold it in, doesn't put it back to his feet. He sees Denor or Mitchell or someone, a runner coming in, and goes, right, there you go, have it. And then we've got runners coming off, and then we play it out to Aziz, and then Coburn turns. There was one where he sort of flicks it in and it goes straight into the goalie's hands. I think that's before we scored. But yeah, he was really good last night. He didn't get his goal, which is, you always want your strikers to score. But if we win every game 3-0 and the strikers don't score for the rest of the season, I won't care.
Who cares? Yeah, no, exactly. And I touched on it earlier, but I do want to give us a bit of a pat on the back here. And if you haven't watched our pre-match, make sure after this you go and do, because you understand what I'm talking about. But we pulled out 3 key battles that we thought we had to win to enable us to get the result last night. And The ones we called out were Aziz versus Wagner, who, as Harry just said, Aziz absolutely battered him all night. This didn't stop. Vicente versus Doughty and Clara versus Ivanovic. With them two specifically, again, go back and watch the show if you haven't already, but we said that actually, if you look at them matchups, you could argue that Sturgeon and Coburn have to start to enable us to win them matchups. Not just to nullify them, but just to get us to play higher up the pitch. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly how it played out. And it's very rare that you get to sit on these podcasts and actually look intelligent and act like you know what you're talking about. This is one of them, and we are going to revel in our moment because this might not happen again, ever. So it's just, honestly, I don't think we've ever called it quite as accurately as that.
So, honestly, I reckon Alex Neil must watch our podcast and go, these boys want to say, yeah, we'll start this team. And he's done it. I want a bit of Alex's Neil paycheck this week.
Alex, if you're after one to come in and work in your player analysis team or whatever, just give us a shout and we'll be there.
I'll stop singing the song in Block 18 about you and your no hair.
Right, moving on to our next segment, the key moments of the game. So, we've already spoke about some of the bits when we talk about players, but we just want to give you a bit of a run through of the game and sort of the key moments that we picked out, not just the goals. Personally, I thought we started the game pretty well. It was a tentative start. Birmingham had a lot of the ball. Didn't really do much with it, as we knew that was going to. But I thought we were competitive. I thought we were much more aggressive, so I liked that. Then the early chances, I think, all sort of come to us. So Josh Coburn had one in the 15th minute. Nebly cut a lovely little ball back that was an overhit cross by Aziz, I believe, that wasn't turned home. And then there was another one a bit after, in the 20th minute. Aziz put a cross in. Langstaff and Coburn just missed it. Don't really know how. And you're thinking, we actually looked quite good here. We actually looked all right. What did you make of that start, mate? In that first 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was a good start. It was one of them where, like you said, Birmingham, we knew they were going to have a lot of the ball. So I don't mind it when if teams want to knock it between their right back, centre backs, and left back for 15, so I couldn't care less as long as they're not hurting us. And every time they did go forward, our full backs and defenders mops it up. It was one of them. We were in the game, and what we did, we looked more threatening. I felt, even though they had a lot of the ball, when we did have the ball. If I was in that away end, if I was in the Birmingham end, I'd have been sitting there going, "Oh, they're playing better." And I said, "They're creating chances," and it only took a moment of a connection, basically, to score. I thought it was a solid first half. You could tell there were people around me in the block and were just like, "Oh, it's gonna be one of them tonight. We can't score." Blah blah. And already moaning. You're thinking, "Oh, shut up!" Like,
here we go.
We've been the better team so far. Like, we just need that goal. And I knew once we got one, if we did get one, we would be able to kick on. And I was okay with the first 20. Yes, we all like to score early and. It relaxes you a bit, but there wasn't at any point apart from, we'll probably get onto it, the Kramer pass to Stansfield. Apart from that chance, I was never really sitting there going, "Oh, Birmingham look dangerous here."
John, speaking of that chance, mate, it was literally the very next passage of play after we put a score at one end. Kramer does fantastically well to get back and put a tackle in, keeps the ball in play. I don't quite know what he's doing. He goes to pass it back to the goalkeeper. He gets nowhere near enough on it. Goes straight to Stansfield, who's read it well, managed to get himself in the way. He's then 2-on-1 with the goalkeeper. The only defender we have back is Cooper. I think Cooper does very, very well.
It's all on Cooper. I don't get anyone. Yeah, Cooper.
Jay pointed it out in our chat, didn't he? I think there's a couple of people who agreed with him, but he kind of makes a half movement to the ball, puts Stansfield under a bit of pressure, and he recognises he's got a man behind him and just cuts off the pass and makes Stansfield take a shot from the edge of the area with an under pressure from an on-rushing Casper Donor, I believe. Patterson gets down to save it. It's a very good save as well, credit where credit's due. But, I mean, it could have been a different game if that had gone in, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's ifs and buts, and we mentioned it earlier on. If Birmingham go 1-0 up, it probably changes the game. You probably get a few boo boys in the ground. Cooper does, but it's all on Cooper, because if Cooper commits to Stansfield, it's a play across the box, open goal, tap in. And if Cooper just sticks with his other man, then Stansfield goes in closer to the goal, and then you ask him even more from Patterson. It's a very good save. Take nothing away from Anthony Patterson. It's a brilliant save. But yeah, it's all on Cooper. If Cooper commits too much either end, I think it's 1-0 Birmingham. And things like that go unnoticed. Like, apart from our group chat, I've not really seen many people credit Cooper for that. sort of movement that he's done. But that just, Cooper's, like I said, Cooper was amazing last night, got his goal that he deserved. But yeah, it could have flipped. If they go 1-0 up, who knows? We could be sitting there talking about a 3-0 defeat, but that's ifs and buts. Like I said, we've got games this season where we could have got an off. If we just score in the first 5 there, it's football. And we rode our luck. They got lucky with how it all happened anyway, with Kramer's bad pass back. We were literally watching it, and I was like, just kick it out, give him a throw or something.
What have you done?
Yeah. In my head, I had Preston at home with Nedgley.
Yeah, no, exactly that, mate. And but we got away with it, and then moments after that, Millwall make the breakthrough. It actually comes from a throw. The ball's cleared away by Birmingham, unconvincingly actually, bouncing the penalty area about 3 times and managed to get the ball away. Falls to Zach Sturge, who plays this ball's going to go underrated. It's a great diagonal ball going out to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Kramer makes a little run, manages to get the end of it. He's clearly spotted that Femi Aziz is in a little bit of pocket of space. It's an incredible little knockdown by Kramer, falls straight to Femi Aziz, and then, well, it's another goal of the season contender, isn't it? On the half volley, sort of just cutting away at the ball on the outside of it's his weaker right foot, apparently. Uno. Just cutting away. You mentioned earlier, it gets a little bit of slice in the ball, just take it away from the keeper into the far top-hand corner. I mean, that was absolutely outrageous, wasn't it? Outrageous.
Yeah. It was a brilliant goal. It's one of them where you sort of you don't even cheer, you sort of just get shocked that it's gone in. It reminded me of the West Brom goal where he sort of curled it in. It wasn't like start cheering a minute. It was like, oh my God, he's actually just done that.
He's done that.
Once again, I know I've referenced Jed and Romeo earlier, but do you remember Jed against Northampton when he done that sort of outside of the foot?
Yeah.
When it reminded me of that guy. I know his one was a bit, Aziz was a bit closer, but it was just one of them goals. That's what Aziz is. He's a moment of magic. He's a moment of flair. And that's why he's, all the big clubs want him, because he produces something that most wingers there would have taken that down, taken a couple of touches, and then tried to curl it in the bottom corner or something like that, and probably the keeper would have saved it. But Aziz has got that natural instinct just to go, right, I can see that bit of space, I'm going to hit it there, and he backs himself to score. A couple of other players in our team would have sliced that one over. But yeah, what a goal! And then from there, we didn't look back, did we? Really?
No, not at all, mate. You got to say it was. I think the word I used to describe as this genius, and that's what you get with Aziz when he's on it. He's genius on the ball, and luckily he's still in a Millwall shirt. But we didn't have to wait too long for our second. So just to give you a little bit of build up for the second goal, Langstaff's fouled in the midfield. It's a distance that, to be completely honest with you, it's outrageously far out to a pop-up goal. Clearly, no one's told Femi that, and he's done it anyway. It's an absolute rocket. The keeper gets a save on it. I saw some Birmingham fans were quite critical of their keeper last night. I actually think this is a good save to be able to tap it onto the post. Unfortunately for Birmingham, fortunately for Millwall, the rebound lands perfectly to Tristan Kramer, who is the only one really awake. And as you said earlier, it's not a centre-back's finish, mate. It's a tidy little finish from he had to react quickly.
Yeah, he had to be composed there, because if he runs onto that too hard, he probably don't get enough power on it, or he skies it. It was a really good reaction to do that, and also to stay on side as well. It's very easy sometimes to sort of just jump in and minute he's kicked. So to stay on side as well is a brilliant finish. He had a free kick. I was looking at it and I literally said he's shooting this. You could just tell, when like someone stands up to a free kick. I think he thought
didn't he?
It was Ronaldo against Portsmouth in like 2007. Because I was like, you sort of see it at the post, you're thinking, just going to clear it now. And then Kramer was just like a road runner onto it, and just Once it was 2-0, I was just like, it's game over now. Like, we're not. I know we've got a history of throwing 2-0 leads away, but I was like, we're not losing tonight. You just get that feeling down the den sometimes. We're not losing here. I had that against Blackburn final day of the season a few years ago, but
we'll touch on that in a minute, mate, when we get to the half-time bit. And because I personally weren't quite as confident. One of the reasons I weren't as confident, before half-time, we should have had a penalty. I can't remember what exact minute. I want to say it was around the 41st minute. Langstaff's clearly pulled back in the area. I will say, I think he makes a bit of a meal out of it. I think it's one of them where he's pulled back and he wants to make sure the ref's seen it.
He's falling at the same time, if that makes sense. Like he's started to fall himself already. I think that's why he haven't got it, to be honest.
Yeah, but there was enough contact. You look at some of the penalty. You look at Southampton's penalty early this season, that's given against us in the same penalty box, and you think that's a penalty for me. The referee kind of half paused. You could tell he took a look at it, and then went and spoke to his assistant for a little bit as well. And eventually decided not to give it.
That's because that liner was useless on the side. It didn't give anything. Even though I'd not been there.
um,
Awful.
yeah, I mean, what did you think? Do you think it was penalty, mate?
It's one of them, like, obviously, when it happened, everyone in the
Mhm.
block's going, "Oh, how's that not a penalty?" This, that, and the other. I've watched, because I watched the highlights back this morning and stuff. He's kind of falling at the same. Like, it is a foul, and I think if Flagstaff doesn't start the fall in motion, probably do get a penalty. But I think the
Right.
referee seen. I also think the referee's just not even seen it. And then, like I said, the line I didn't flag for anything last night. I didn't even flag for throw-ins at half time. It was a ref making a decision. Then the line went like that. And it was like, mate, you're meant to be an assistant referee. You don't know what you're doing.
What you're here for?
Yeah, so it was like, because it was 2-0, like, no one really cares, if that makes sense. Like, if it had been
Well, you
0-0.
don't care now we've won. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not my point. But if it had been 0-0 at that time and that had happened, then I think there'd been a lot more uproar. It's one of them, isn't it? It's like, yeah, there was chances last night. It's like the Nedgley miss. Like, I'm sure we'll go
Mhm.
into it. Like, if that's 0-0, he's probably getting slated. It's
Yeah.
one of them. Yeah, because it was. I've seen them given, and down the other end, it would have 100% been given against us.
And that's my issue with it. That's my issue.
Yeah, it would have been given against us. But if I'm the referee and I get a full view of that, I'd be like, no, I think Lansdowne probably has fallen before the contact, and that's part of the reason it probably wasn't given. But yeah,
No,
it didn't matter
fair.
in the end.
Yeah, it didn't know, but you touched on it being you're being confident at 2-0. I don't think the Scarves from Blackburn are ever going to recover from me, mate. I hate it when we're leading by 2 goals. That for me is almost, it's still a bit of a banana skin. And then when we don't get that penalty just before half time, which I do think was a penalty, I'm then sitting there at half time thinking, all right, nothing silly, boys. Let's come out, sensible second half. What was your thoughts at half time, mate?
Well, we got into because my brother went and got some beers. So he's come down. He's calling me at, like, how many minutes was added on? Was it 3, I think, or something like that? Wasn't it, first
Something
half?
like that. Yeah.
But they had, like, back-to-back corners, didn't they? Right at the end of the half.
Yeah.
Ended up clearing them. So he's like, "Can you help me? I've got, like, 4 drinks here. I can't, like, carry them all." So he's standing at the bar. I'm like, "I can't." Birmingham, like, got a corner. I can't, like, miss it just in case they score. I'm like, it'd be my luck that I'll go out and I'll just hear the away end go mental. But yeah, but when we got to half time and it's 2-0, and I was like, "Oh, we'll be fine." Like, I said, as long first 5 minutes, if we don't concede, we'll win the game. If we can get to 50,
Yeah.
55
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But we've got a knack of conceding really early in the second half. But obviously yesterday was the opposite. We came out firing, and big juicy Jake.
No, that's it, mate. And yeah, rather than looking to sort of consolidate early in the second half, not only did we do that, and 3 minutes into it, we had a third. So Coburn's fouled in the middle of the pitch. You described it perfectly earlier. Ball goes into his chest. The defender's all over him. It kind of gets his body in front of it. He's big and strong, and I think it was Panzer. I think it was. All he could do was foul him. He pulls Coburn down, and the referee correctly gives a free kick. Aziz floats in a ball, dare I say, ever so slightly overhit, but it was still a good delivery. And Crammer does spectacularly well. Just guides it back into a dangerous area in a 6-yard box. And Juicy Jake Sev, easy finish to put the game to bed. It's another goal from a defender. It's another assist for a defender. What did you make of that, mate?
Yeah, it was a really good team goal. It's one of them, we say it so often, just put it into an area
Yeah.
and things will happen. You know, if you put balls into the 6-yard box and get defenders facing the wrong way, turning at their own goal, things will happen. And yeah, once again, I say about Kramer's goal. Cooper's is a striker's finish. It's very calm and composed, just to follow it in first time. You know, he's not just smashed it; he's sort of passed it into the net. Basically, it's a very good goal, and a very good team goal. And at that point, yeah, it's game over, isn't it? I mean, I still remember Birmingham coming back from 3-0 down, and Marlon King scoring a hat-trick against us.
So do I.
I was like, no, not tonight. Like I said, tonight we were last night even, but we were all over them. We destroyed them from minute one, and like I said, apart from the chance that we actually end up giving them in the first half through Kramer, they were never in it. And yeah, that was like the icing on the cake, the Cooper goal.
No, exactly that, mate. And to your point, if it wasn't over at 3-0, it certainly was. Shortly after, Solis makes a mistake in the middle of the pitch. To give Millwall credit, we just didn't let Birmingham breathe. I believe it's Coburn that's hurrying him up in the middle, just not giving him a time to think. He takes a poor touch and gives it away to Casper Denor, overstretching, brings him down. It's a clear yellow card, clear second yellow, and then suddenly we're playing against 10 men. It was a clear red, right? No arguments there.
I didn't know he was on a yellow card originally.
Yeah,
so
got in the first half. Yeah.
When he pulled out the yellow card, I thought, well, that's it is a yellow card offence. And then he called out the red, and it was like, woo.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a yellow card, and yeah, so that led to obviously a red card, and yeah, but that's what I mean. By that point, yeah, definitely game over. 10-minute Birmingham were never going to come back against us, were they? They weren't going to come back with 11 men last night, and I think
No, they
that,
weren't.
to be honest, all that did last night, once they got that red card, it was like we stopped attacking, we started to play about with it then, and we were doing what
100%.
Birmingham were doing, which the fans around us were still getting annoyed about that. And it was like, just attack, just score four. I'm like, they're clearly doing it. They want to conserve energy. If we just keep bombing forward, we're just wasting energy that we don't need to now. Why not just keep it back, look nice on the ball, and you save a bit of energy for Saturday?
No, John, mate, I completely agree. I mean, I do think after the red card, we kind of took our foot off the gas a little bit. We just controlled the game, really. We moved the ball around nicely. Neil rings the changes. Ivanovic comes on, McNamara, Doughty, Watson, and finally Barry Bannon all make appearances just to see out the game. I think there was a few moments just to say where we could have maybe added a fourth. I think Langstaff had a header. Negley should have scored. It was clean
Yeah.
through,
Or at
blaze
least
it
they're
over the
on
bar.
target. I mean, at
Yeah,
least they're on target.
yeah, and I guess that's one of the only sale points of the game where you're thinking we still have a poor goal difference, right? We could have done with that, but I do got to say I do think by the time them sort of moments happened, we'd already, to your point, got an eye on the weekend, just trying to save energy and trying to keep minutes in the legs. So just to recap, it was a perfect performance from us from start to finish. We were all over them, chalk and cheese from the Portsmouth game, which now I said feels like a distant memory. Sum that game up for me, mate.
Yeah, just a perfect response. And Alex Neil performance that was last night. Whenever we've been
Yeah, I love that.
questioned,
100%.
whenever we've been questioned on, our consistency as a team, or whenever we get like a bit of a hide in away from home or at home, we always bounce back. And that was an Alex Neil performance last night. We were in the face, we were hungry, we showed quality when we needed to, but we also, when we needed to, we did our defensive duties and we bullied them from from man to man. There wasn't a Birmingham player that outplayed our player in that position. From man to man, we were the best team on the pitch. We just got to back that up now. We just got to go to Preston and Hull and get 6 points, and we could be in the autos in 2 weeks.
That's the dream, mate. But just to touch on what you said about our domination, that takes me on nicely to our next segment, which is looking into the match stats. So, despite having the extra man for most of the second half, we actually had slightly less possession of the ball, not by much, only a half percentage, which I think just goes to show quite how pointless possession stats actually might be.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the others, we dominated for XG, we dominated shots on goals, dominated shots on target. And I think the best one for me actually is touches inside the opposition box. Not just how many we had, but how few Birmingham had throughout the 90 minutes. Harry, what stands out most for you there, mate?
The fact that possession means nothing. That's the main one, isn't it?
Yeah, in that truth, yeah.
But with a possession stat, I would prefer it if they could break it down and go, right, okay, so let's say
Meaningful possession.
Yeah, and possession
Yeah.
in certain areas of the pitch, because but Birmingham had a lot of the ball last night, but it was them knocking it around their back four for 20 or 30 minutes. Like, it's meaningless possession. And then when they did go forward, like I said, we mopped it up. Yeah, I mean, we were lethal last night. I feel like every time we put something on target, it was hitting the back of the net, and every time we came forward, we looked dangerous. And I think that was the main thing last night. Usually when we play games, we get a few shots off and it's like, oh, this one's gone over, he's mishit this one. But last night, it just seemed that everything we touched turned to gold. And yeah, I'm not surprised to be honest, I'm not surprised in the stats, because I don't really remember like Birmingham getting into our penalty box, to be honest. I think James Stansfield's shot is outside the box, so I don't actually remember Birmingham, unless from a few corners, maybe they won a few headers and flick-ons and stuff like that. I don't ever really remember them sort of threatening Patterson in the goal. So
yeah, it's half chances, wasn't it? Half chances,
yeah,
nothing
it was
more.
one of them ones where you go, if you can see that, you'd be disappointed in either the goalie or the defence. But yeah, it was a complete performance last night. Like I said, we're better when we don't have the ball. I think when we have the ball, we think too much, and we mess about with it, and we do silly mistakes. We're a team that's better out of possession, which, don't get too far ahead, suits you when you go up. If you're a team that likes to play with the ball and then you go up to the Premiership and you've got to play Liverpool and you're not having the ball, it's one of them, and it's better. Sometimes it's better to sort of acclimatise to that situation. So then when you do
100%.
play, you're used to not having the ball. And we've seen that. Saw that last night, didn't have a lot of the ball. I say didn't have a lot of the ball. I think, like I said, Birmingham
It
was
was pretty 50-50-ish, yeah.
yeah,
With 49%.
it always felt that Birmingham had the ball in just when I was watching it, and it just felt when we had it, we were just quick with it. We would just work, we'd go right, boom, 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 right. We've put it in the box now, and within 10 seconds, Birmingham got the ball back, but we've created something,
Yeah.
And I think that was the difference between last night. They took a minute to decide what they were going to do between their back four before going forwards, and then Sturgeon come out and just knock it away, and it was just it was just a complete performance last night, and the stats back it up. It shows by the amount of stuff we actually had, the touches in the opposition box, and they can have their possession stat if they want it.
You can keep that. Yeah, you can take that over here, but you're taking home nothing else. Right, on to our next segment, mate. Man of the match. Crammer won it on the day. Crammer was voted man of the match last night. But I think there's a few names that could be mentioned. Who was your man of the match, mate, before we go anywhere?
Yeah, Crammer was the man of the match, 2 assists and a goal. I said Lenny and Nedgley have an argument to be up there, but I just think for a centre-back to get 2 assists and a goal, that's pretty special.
He's got to win.
Yeah, he had to win it. But to be honest, I think all of them last night, the only ones that like you could say, they probably don't deserve it, are Patterson because he's barely done anything apart from that one save.
Yeah.
And that's probably it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Most of them had an argument last night to say, it could have been me, but I just think for a centre-back to get 2 assists and a goal, I mean, our strikers don't get that.
Yeah, and all season, yeah. I mean, you're right. It can't not be Crammer with what he put on the stat sheet. But you've touched on a few honourable mentions there with Leonard and Nedgley. I just want to call out Zach Sturgeon, Coburn as well. I think both coming into the side. I think both are exceptional. Both won their battles, and I think they're both worth an honourable mention as well, mate. So, but yeah, man of the match for you, Tristan Crammer. Yeah, is that an 8-5 man of the match?
Yeah, Crammer man of the match, but like I said, it was complete. That was probably one of the best performances down the den we've had in a while in terms of completeness. But Crammer by a mile for me, just because not every day do you see your centre backs get 2 assists and a goal.
No, that's it, mate. Right, I think we're nearly there. Any final thoughts from yourself before we hand out?
Bring on Saturday. Bring on Preston.
Hopefully we follow us up, mate. I mean, we're doing our Preston pre-match later, and we'll talk about Preston more then. So, yeah, it'd be typical Millwall to follow us up with a flat performance, wouldn't it? Or is that the old Millwall? Am I being pessimistic?
Yeah, you know what? Get a flat performance and win 1-0. I couldn't care less. Do you know what I mean? Just win the game and we'll go a week off.
No, that's it, mate. Right, guys, this has been our Birmingham post-match call-down. If you've enjoyed the video, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, get in the comments and join the conversation. As I just touched upon, you're not going to have to wait long for the next episode. Our Preston warm-up will be with you Friday morning. So make sure you watch this tonight and then join us on Friday. This has been the 885 show. We'll see you next time.